In this video, I'm going to show you 6 ways to get more out of Codex, Claude Code, Cursor, whatever AI tool you're using, because most people I talk to treat AI kind of like a slot machine. To steal an analogy, they put their prompt in, pull the lever, leaving it completely up to chance, and then when it doesn't go perfectly, they blame the model. The model hasn't been a bottleneck in a little while now. That's what we're talking about today, some game changers to stop leaving things up to chance, starting with the first one, interview me. It's exactly as it sounds. You just conduct an interview with the AI where it'll ask you probing questions to figure out what it is you're doing, who's it for, what should it do, what already exists, right? Because a lot of the reason your AI output is inconsistent or way off base is because you're leaving a lot up to chance, right? So if you tell the AI to ask only the questions needed to remove ambiguity, find out who this is for, what it should do, what already exists, what should change, what could go wrong, and what not to touch. I'll leave all these prompts in the description or whatever too. The outputs that the AI gives you will start falling in line with those goals. It won't make assumptions about what it is you're after, what you're all about. And typically you only have to do this once per project, but usually you can take this sort of context and then move it all forward, okay? So I was thinking about this, and the analogy I came up with is if you tell AI to hit a ball over the fence, there's a lot of assumptions being made there, right? Like, what kind of ball? What are you hitting it with? What kind of fence? You know what I mean? So if you put it in the context of tennis and baseball, it's the same action, hitting a home run or just like volleying the tennis ball, but two completely different looks to it, okay? So really all this is doing is just figuring out if you're playing baseball or if you're playing tennis and getting all this sort of context, right? So it is reusable, and if you take nothing else from this video, this will probably have the biggest single impact from all of these different things. Only once it understands the context can you start planning the build, right? Because it doesn't make sense to start planning things and then moving your tennis racket to a ball diamond, if that makes any sense. Whatever, you know what I mean. That's the second part though. Now that you've got the context, you need to plan out what it is you're doing in detail so that there's no room for error. Prompt for this would be write the implementation spec before changing files, explain the goal, what currently happens, what should happen instead, what files may change, the risky parts, how will we verify it, and what done actually looks like. That last part is pivotally important. You need to give it a win condition, I guess, because a lot of the problems that I've had with AI in the past is they'll complete a task, but they're not working towards achieving a goal, and those are two completely different things. You need to give it what done looks like, what their expected output is, otherwise it's just gonna try and check this off their list. Regardless of how you get there, man, your AI needs to explain the goal. It needs to understand the point of all of this, right? And to go back to our analogy, hit the ball over the fence, that looks completely different between tennis and baseball. What that is for looks different between tennis and baseball, what could go wrong, what we've already got going on. You see what I'm getting at? And once it understands all of that and tells you exactly how it's going to go through achieving this goal, then you can approve the plan and move forward. There's only one build step in this entire thing, as a spoiler alert or whatever, because this is the easy part, right? This is the part that AI has really compressed. It's everything else around it that we need to pay more attention to. But I'm not sure if you guys have ever done this before, where you punch in a prompt to Claude Code, you sit there and you wait for 15 minutes and just like watch it go through a bunch of different things, and that is super annoying. So having agents work in parallel is actually a great way to speed up the work, or sub agents, okay? It's not just a great way to speed up the work, it actually gives you differing perspectives and a better overall output. Also stretches the amount of time you can work on one session because you're not bloating one context window of one agent. Typically speaking, when you're working with an AI agent, it'll assess the prompt, right? Generally break it down into steps and then just go down the checklist, crossing those things off. And it tries to do things by itself. The best way to trigger a sub-agent workflow is to just say so, honestly. It's like, break this down into 4 sub-agents, I'll give you some examples though. A great idea is generally having one agent get context, like go and read the code base, report back, so you're not wasting your entire context window on stuff you've already done. Second agent to find the fastest path to completion. Another one looking to be skeptical and like break the workflow or whatever. And then a fourth to verify that this is actually done properly, right? Just 0 to 1. Another super practical one is, let's say you've got a CSV full of potential clients, right? A list of companies or videos or something like that you want to research, right? You can launch a sub-agent for each line in that CSV. So you'd be like, research this company, and you just launch as many agents as there are lines in the CSV, and you get done hundreds of times faster, depending on how much, you see what I'm getting at here? I did a couple videos on sub-agents actually, and just different orchestrations and some cool stuff you can do with the Pi agent. If you want to go a little deeper, I'll link those here. But the TLDR is that parallel agents allow you to work a lot faster, and they also give you varying perspectives on different tasks. tasks, okay? Like one agent will confirm its previous answers, whereas multiple agents will come up with different ones. Real quick, I want to say thank you to those that are already subscribed, except YouTube tells me that only 11% of you are. So if you're finding anything useful, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That really helps me out. And it also tells YouTube that you want to see more content just like this. Let's get back to it. Number 4, before building, show me exactly how you'll verify this, what you'll check, what results you expect, what failure looks like, what needs human review, and how I'll know it worked. This is, I don't have to tell you how important this is, right? One of the huge knocks on AI from the outset was that it just like makes stuff up. I mean, there are so many anecdotes of people leaving really important, high impact stuff to AI and it just goes catastrophically wrong for them. Not just like making sure things are correct, like that's a huge part of verification, of course, but also making sure that things were done in the first place. Like there's a lot more instances now of AI saying it's accomplished something or it did something and it only did like 80% of it, you know what I mean? So it's not actually completing the goal. So you need a way to go back and like verify that what it said was done, and also was done properly. So you want to make sure you have a plan for verification and also human handoffs. And there's like high impact stuff that you want to make sure that you have final go ahead and approval on. I would say anything like payments or private data, you know, API keys, anytime you're posting to social media or like emailing a client, you want to make sure that you've got the final say on that and you're not just like putting yourself in a wreck. This one here is actually crazy important as well, making sure that you save your sessions in some sort of persistent state. Because AI is not deterministic, it is possible to get a 10 out of 10, absolutely threaded the needle, perfect answer one time and never again. So what we're trying to do is get as close to a predictable response as we can. So making sure to save context and good responses to project instructions. Generally speaking, in the project folder, you can save that to agents.md or claude.md if you're using Claude Code, gemini.md if you're using anti-gravity. But what this does is it just reinforces your standards, doesn't have you repeat context and possibly go off course. It just gives you a more reliable output and just you can scale confidence with this project and this agent in this particular workspace. Lastly, you need to know when it's appropriate to automate with AI and when it's not. When AI can assist you with the task, but you still have to do the work, okay? I could probably make an entire video about this. The very first thing is I guess we'll define terms, okay? So automated is when AI runs end-to-end with minimal or no human intervention, right? Like you tell it what to do and it just runs on in the background without you. AI assisted is when it sets you up to knock the pins down, for example, okay? So AI assists, but you're in the loop, you pull the trigger, you're the one actually doing the work. Like I wasn't kidding, I could probably do an entire video on this, but I think where people go crazy wrong is they just want AI to take stuff off their plate and they haven't worked through it themselves from end to end first. Like you can't automate something that you don't fully understand like the process of, right? So people go straight to step 3 and they miss steps 1 and 2. Step 1 would be do it yourself so you understand like manually end to end so you understand exactly what goes into these things. Then see how AI fits into that task. So everything should always be manual, then AI assisted. And then you can see if it's something that's automatable or not, you know what I mean? Because the majority of the negative response people that have to AI, and honestly in general, but like let's just take content for example, is people jumping from 0 to 3. AI automated right out the gate, they don't understand the task, and it's just trash. I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life, man, but that sucks. I don't think you should automate anything until it is well and truly under control. Like you completely understand what's happening, right? The requirements are clear and stable, tasks are well defined, and it's like relatively low impact if something goes catastrophically wrong, you know? So a great example of that is like content research. Like I can have something scour newsletters for me, right? Low impact, low cost of failure. That's a perfect example of an automation. Saves me a ton of time. Love it. That's in stark contrast to something like AI trading bots, which you hear a lot about and I think people are nuts for, personal opinion. But like there's a high cost of failure. The consequences are irreversible. So that's something that you can get AI to gather information for, you know, like help you with your trading decisions, but you don't want them pulling the trigger on actually making those trades. Another thing you need to ask yourself is what's most important, like speed and flexibility or quality and accuracy, because inarguably, the output that you'll get from AI is not as good as what you write yourself, for example, or do yourself, whatever it is. It's not going to be as good. So it's like a 7 out of 10 output gets you yelled at, sued, fired, divorced, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like that is not something you should automate. Anyway, I think you get the idea. Like I said, I could talk about this for a long time because there are so many examples of people that do not care to like ask these sort of questions. So there you have it. All 6 in order is make sure you give a context, you write a plan, divide and conquer, like split your work when necessary, make sure that you can verify it, save your work, and automate when it makes sense. None of these are like crazy magic hacks or anything like that, but like each of them do a lot to improve the quality of your AI workflow experience, and compounded, it makes a big difference. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll leave some prompts in the description. Make sure to like and subscribe and check out this video here to learn some more cool stuff. Catch you in the next one.